Me?
That ain't it.
I'm looking at both cameras.
I was gonna say that.
Yep.
Are you saving up for a car?
Car.
No, that's what no.
Nothing is wrong with you.
Don't you want peace?
Good grief. And just being able to express.
Appreciate y'all for coming out to this next episode of You're Safe Here. I'll allow everybody to introduce themselves, going around the room. Start with you.
Okay. Hey y'all, I'm Ebony. I go by Shawty on Instagram, and
I'm Ava. I go by. Oh, I'll start with my actual name. So my actual name is Avianca, but I go by Ava or Clouds. So whichever one fits, fit for you. So, yeah.
I'm out. Hey.
Oh, that's it.
Okay. Hello, my name's Kenya. My Instagram name is Afrocentricity.
Okay, and Marquise, LRK Chronicle, at Respect Mr. Walker on all platforms. Now, why I brought us here today is to have these conversations with amongst photographers and about how we maneuver in this type of space and what we try to push out there. So the first question I would like to ask is, what even got y'all into photography in the first place?
I'll start. So I don't know. I guess for me, like I've always kind of grown up around cameras. Like my dad, he was always that person that had a camera at every event. It didn't matter if it was a funeral or a wedding. That man had the camera out, ready to. Yeah, no, that always kind of got me. I was like, Daddy, this don't seem like the place at the time. But, right. I was like, okay, that's what you got to do. So yeah, I've always just kind of been around cameras, but originally what got me into photography is I wanted to work on doing like self-portraits and stuff. I just felt like it would be easier to capture myself and I'd be able to build up my comfortability with that. But I ended up actually shooting one of my friends and I love how it went. I love the whole process of shooting. So it kind of inspired me to push forward, continue trying new things. And then once I started to just explore the different types of photography, like editorial and stuff, like I really started to figure out that I enjoy doing it. Like photography is something, if I had $1 million today, I would shoot for free if I could, like every day.
I think we all
Right. Yeah, exactly. Just for the sake that, it's a creative outlet. It allows you to express yourself and, just bring your visions to life. And I think that's the thing that really had me sticking with it.
Definitely, I agree. Photography for me, first of all, I got into video. Even when I was younger, I was always more so into film. Mm-hmm. For the most part with me, I didn't start getting into photography until like maybe right around my son was being born. So 4 years ago. And I always figured like the more I learned with the photography, it'll help me also with the video work. So just playing along that and of course going to YouTube University and just tutorial after tutorial, looking, see how they edit this, see how they edit that, see how they edit this, see how they edit that. Never really looked into when it comes to styles and how they shoot because I always figured like, that'd be copying and biting on somebody else's style. Develop your own style and just learn how to edit and maneuver in that space. So that's pretty much where I learned, and I just end up that love for it as I was learning so much more, end up allowing me, a space to where, oh shoot, like I actually like this just as much as videography. And to this day, even though I still look at myself as a rookie, and I think that's the beauty in it because it's so much more to learn out there, and that's why I just keep continuing to grow, and that's why my love just never ends for it.
Yeah, most definitely. My story is always interesting. So it came really more so out of a way to get out of depression, really. So I grew up running track since I was a baby. And, going to the league, just like anybody else who get into sports at a young age. But during that same time, my uncle was a photographer doing like weddings and stuff. So he would babysit me. So I would take his camera when he wasn't using it and just messing around. So the seed was planted. And being like a car person, we would go to car meets and he would teach me how to shoot cars. So I kind of learned about angles, learning how to make a car look fast without it moving and all that type of stuff. So the seed was already planted. when I got into high school, I had a lot of injuries building up to the fact that it probably wasn't going to be a reality going to college or turning pro. So with that being the only way that you kind of seen yourself doing anything in life, just kind of went into that pit of just nothing. There was nothing else. Didn't want to go to the streets, any of that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And just, you dibble and dabble, but it just wasn't nothing that I really wanted to dibble into. And just at the same time, I went on a trip with one of my good friends to DC. And we went to all the museums and stuff up there, and I just was taking pictures on my phone. And this is around when cell phone technology was getting decent. And from there, the bug or the seed that was planted finally did kind of start to show its roots and start to grow out. And a friend of mine who ended up becoming part of a blog together, he was shooting film at the time, so he gave me my first camera. It was just like a little Kodak Z812 or something like that, whatever those numbers. And I was using that bitch like it was like a big old Canon 6D. Like I was like, you couldn't tell me there was no camera better until I got a better camera. Yeah, that's what it's all about. But the bug was bit from that point on that, this camera needs to be in my hand to some capacity.
I can feel that. Definitely feel that.
I guess for me, it was different because back in when I was in high school, I got into paint shop, and so I was doing a little, computer graphic designs and stuff like that. And so I was getting ready to go to school, and they had an art project, and they were like, send us your best art pieces. So the person I was dating at the time was like, well, you like taking pictures, take a picture, and do graphic design with that. So I was doing that. Didn't win the little scholarship, so I went to school for computer information systems, and photography just was something that I would just do randomly. And all my friends were like, oh, you take some nice pictures, but I wasn't paying attention to it. I wanted to make video games for a living. And then
I never would have known that about you.
I wanted to make video games for a living, and decided that got to maybe my second year of college was like, this is not something that I want. Plus I had to come back home, so I went to FAM. And one day, a group of my friends, we all went to LA, and I was just taking pictures there, and then for some reason it just felt comfortable. And I was just like, I love this, and I love how I feel taking pictures here. Went back the second time. Now by this time I've already I was still dabbling in it, doing my research, and I went back the second time and realized that photography is where it's at for me. So still continue to teach myself. The one thing that the one thing that really got me into photography was I tell people I don't really specify what I do with photography. I do it all because it's just so much about photography that just interests me every day. Yeah. And like you said, YouTube University, I would spend some nights just watching it, not even doing it with them, but just watching it and just seeing it, research people, and just looked at the local photographers here, and just really just this is where I wanted to be. It felt comfortable, it felt like this is what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And I feel for the longest time I always tried to find my thing, what is my calling, and I would either always get bored, and now here I am almost 3 years later, just this is I just want to do this forever. Like you said, if I had $1 million, I would do this for free. So yeah.
Okay, that's a beautiful story. Yeah. And
wow, I've pretty much always been into photography too. My parents always gifted me cameras for Christmas, but I've always been very artistic, and I just end up making stuff, just putting random pictures together, drawing, painting, whatever. So I don't know, last year I kind of was in a funk because I'm I can't keep working. I don't know what's going to happen, but this ain't working. So I don't know, I thought I wanted to be a tattoo artist. So I was just drawing and drawing. I lost the book, but I ended up taking pictures for people. So I don't know, like Ava said, it just felt comfortable. I went to Cali, and everywhere we went, my camera was on me, and I just snapped everything. And I still look back at them pictures, and I'm like, well, I can't believe I captured those moments, but those moments are beautiful. So yeah, this is what I love about photography. And I guess what really got me noticed by my friends are the ones that motivated me to be a photographer. I would take pictures of my baby and make these little photo shoots. And that's so cute, and make little outfits. So yeah, here I am now, 2 years later.
All beautiful.
Oh, great.
All beautiful stories, and I all love to hear it. Now, one thing I would say, it seems like we all have either kind of fell into it in a way, but we all come to a common place where we all love photography. So one of the things I would ask is, what is one of the main things that you try to capture with your photography, especially in Black culture?
I guess that was directed at me. Well, to answer that, I kind of have to go a little bit back into my photography journey a little bit. As we all kind of get into cameras, we just taking pictures of everything. You know, one of the things I tell anybody who's getting into photography is just shoot. I don't care if you're shooting collard greens, just shoot, because you never know. And for me, doing that, eventually started finding my identity in things, but also I started studying photography. So I started studying like Gordon Parks and Robert Frank and Roy DeCarava, who became like my trifecta, I guess, my triangle of sorts. They were the ones that was resonating with me the most. Robert Frank was the guy that resonated with me the most because of how he can able to capture emotion in a photograph. But it doesn't have to be this perfect, sharp image, everything, rules of thirds, everything is applied, where it's like you're missing the point of stuff. And that's difficult, especially for somebody who's just getting into photography. Yeah, when they look at Robert Frank's work, they're like, I don't get it.
They expect you to get all that, like, look, man. Like,
yeah, you don't get it. But sometimes you can look at, sometimes a blurred photograph can be the most powerful image that you've ever seen. You know, it's all about the emotion that was put into it, the impact that he's seen, something that resonates with you. So seeing that and how he was able to do that, and I was like, that's what I want to do, figuring that stuff out. And then I got really into Gordon Parks, where it was using your camera as a weapon. He was using his camera to speak about something, and then to let me know that I can use this not just because of its enjoyment or a way to get me out of depression, but I can speak on whatever I want to speak on. Gordon Parks was speaking on class, race, social issues all through a camera without saying anything.
Yeah, you can pick up for a lack thereof. Like, okay, maybe I may not be as vocal about this, but what I do.
Yeah, exactly. It will say everything that I can't put into words. Bingo. He was the grand. He was the full definition of that to me. And then Roy DeCarava, most people don't know about him. He was the first Black artist to be a fellowship in the Guggenheim at MoMA in New York. And it was back in the 50s, and he was a photographer. He started off as a painter. He said that paint wasn't doing enough for him, so he just picked up a camera and started shooting. Because paint to him didn't bring out enough emotion of what he was looking for. So he did that, and he did his own darkroom prints and everything. And what I learned the most about him was the importance of capturing where you come from. And he's kind of damn near the reason why I ended up staying in Jacksonville, really. Because all of his work, for the most part, is all within 6 blocks in Harlem. Within like 20 years worth of work. But it's so many stories that resonate with us. And his most famous work, The Sweet Fly Paper of Life, where Langston Hughes, he curated the photos, and Langston Hughes wrote a story out of the image that he took that was all based within these 6 blocks. But it's something that was powerful to me about that. It was like he didn't even leave his home, and he was able to make all these different things and speak on so many different topics, and to put such an impression on other people around the world. It was like, damn. So once I got those 3, and I kind of realized like that's what I want to do. Yeah. You know, Jacksonville became the forefront of that, because Jacksonville, while I grew up here, raised here, and I know the stories of it, it's only like 3% of Black people that really know the story and history of the true history of Jacksonville. So putting that on photo. 2, it wasn't enough representation of African Americans in a realistic light. The only time we really seen photographs of us outside of going to Plush for a club pic that was printed out was on the news.
Shout out to Plush.
Yeah, shout out to Plush. Plenty bubble. Plenty of there, and the old Sunray too. Before Sunray was a movie theater, that was the spot. But yeah, I kind of just took that along myself, and I was like, you know, it's all about capturing the daily nuisances in life and the time period that we live in, and understanding where we fit in through class and identity and race. But with the specifics on African American culture, because Blacks built Jacksonville, and it needs to be documented.
Damn right.
So
I don't think you can get no more powerful than that. But anybody else? What is the goal of what y'all try to capture? More to say when y'all get into your photography work. Like, what is something that you like look to do?
With me, I know this sounds like kind of cliche, but like I said, I like to capture moments that capture memories that last lifetime. I also like to make people think with a lot of things I do. So with my photography, it's just like I like to take a photo that can have endless stories from every different perspectives. So I like to capture different perspectives of what I take and then show somebody else, and they come back and like, well, this is what I take from it. And I love that. I love taking photos that evoke conversations or like give people an awe, and it's like, that can just come up with their own stories behind why I took it, whether that's the story or not. Also, just uniqueness within, to pick it back up what Matt was saying, just the Black people, Black women, Black men. I'm very big on Black women. I'm like the biggest fan of Black women. So, especially with Black women, I like to hey sis. So, just capturing the uniqueness within Black women and just showing that we're not one dimensional or this stereotype that's built on by society, and stuff like that. So I like to step outside the box and just push the envelope and share have a conversation amongst people with my photography. So that's something that I really aim for every time I shoot.
See you then.
I did. My reason for doing photography is more so like to capture the moments. So I'm from Memphis. To capture the moments, the parts of our city where most people forget that it has the most beautiful moments in it. Like I can be traveling down Everest Christian Boulevard, and like it ain't even the sunset. It can just be like the car. It can just be traffic. Capture that moment right there in my car, and it's like, wow. A lot of people forget how busy Everest Christian is. Most people just drive by and just losing their mind. Like why?
Of course, on everyday life, like you so like on autopilot, like. And
then like I can go down to Midtown and just be like, oh, we're just in this moment, and we're just like I said, so many people just forget that Midtown is actually one of the second things in Memphis that brings traction. Mm-hmm. Like yes, you got Beale Street, but then you got Midtown where most of the creatives live, and it's like you go down there, like there's murals everywhere, and well, this is what helped make Memphis what Memphis is. So I just want to be able to bring back the fact that the things that you forgot about Memphis is here. You can see them.
Yeah. Bring it home to the world. Anybody else want to speak on?
I'd say, my thing is I love being in nature, and I find a lot of times, like I won't say everybody, but a lot of African Americans I feel like don't spend like enough time just like in the sun, and the sun just makes me feel so great. So I want to take like my work and show how the sun makes me feel like better about myself and make other people feel better and energetic and just give you that natural, beautiful energy. And people like we just look good in the sun.
Hey, I heard that.
Like
right.
No better medium for it. I mean, the thing that people got to understand is photography is the most accessible medium out of the art forms, but the actual definition of photography is drawing with light. Your camera is the paintbrush. The whole world is the canvas. But the sun is your ink. And the people do not think about that. So think about that again when you pick up that camera. Like, damn, like I'm legit painting with light right now. You out there using that ink like this free. Yeah, you out there painting with that. And that's the part that's so crazy. Like something as mind-blowing of a concept is that to create these moments that are frozen. And just like you said about in Memphis, like we in a time period right now where those photographs of Everest Presser Boulevard, hell, even Orange Mound in North Memphis, right? Somebody shooting out there in Orange Mound a year ago today, ain't nobody out there in Orange Mound.
Yeah. Most people just forget how things are. And like, no, I want you to remember that this existed.
Exactly.
This still exists.
Exactly. That's the purpose of what I think photography is. We go back to these photos. We go back, look at our old club photos the same way we're finna go back and look at these photos that we're taking now. Because you're gonna go back and look at something that you've seen 5 years ago. You're gonna end up passing by it and be like, I don't remember that looking like that. You're gonna come back, wow,
Right.
Like
Every
so
single
much time has
time.
passed, and you're like,
Yeah.
I don't. What happened? And
Yeah.
the majority of the time, it's always that what happened question.
It's yeah.
Like right now, I can go to Westwood.
Mhm.
Westwood is like what a hot skill from the bridge
Yeah.
that connects with West Memphis, Arkansas.
Right.
I can go over there. Westwood was more popping than Whitehaven, Elvis Presley Boulevard, and East Memphis.
Mhm.
East Memphis is where most of the shops thrive.
Yeah.
So I can go over there, the roller skate ring, the food stamp office, like
Mhm.
literally bars and clubs, and well, all of them had shut down.
Mhm.
And I can sit there and capture the picture that I see now, and I can go back and ask my granddad, like, Granddad, do you remember what and he'll give me a whole story
Yeah,
of what
that's
he
the
sees
key
right
right there.
now.
That's
I
the
remember
key.
right there, there used to be a butcher shop. Right
Yeah.
there, there used to be a little meat market where me and grandma used to have fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the key though. But it's so much. Well, exactly how you get so much joy out of that now, and then it just brings so much more to the next generation. Like there's a photographer, Latoya Ruby Fraser, and she did some work then a year or two ago where she was photographing from a helicopter. She was photographing highways. And like most people know about Redline and everything, majority of these prominent black neighborhoods were torn down because of these major highways that was built in. And she was doing that as a study that ended up being in a big exhibition, I think in Pittsburgh. And she used Chicago as the main place. How every major highway rolled through a predominant black entertainment center during that time period. And capturing that type of stuff and reminding people about where you come from, because there's not too many photographs from that area now, but people need to understand, like
there's history right there.
All that history that you drive over every single day that made you who you are today, you drive over without any repercussion.
Like me and your daddy used to get into scrap with the little Johnny in them across the street.
Right.
Like, well, I don't see it. Well, what you don't see is that piece of pavement right there is why I sunk the kid out.
Oh yeah.
What you see right now is a pillar that's close to this highway.
Exactly.
Black history.
It's all there. Just like in Jacksonville. You have everybody knows about LaVilla. But Sugar Hill was a neighborhood that was next to LaVilla where I-95 runs into. Sugar Hill is where the black millionaires in Florida live. So
Can't speak on that.
So majority of the black millionaires that lived in Florida, they were staying right there. You had a whole park and everything. What's going on for so you had all of that. All that history gone, you just ride by it every single time. Like when you pass by the overpass, the walking path, there used to be a whole park right there. Like you pass by with children, you used to be able to play freely with no problem. But that's the power of photography.
I love it.
And we got our boy Raw in here right now.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, sir. Nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you. How you doing, man?
Doing well. I'm sorry about coming up a little late.
Sure, good, man. We just right now we are discussing about what we try to capture whenever we take pictures. Like, what's the goal in mind? One of the things I would say is one thing that I always wanted to see is more people that look like me.
Yes.
I will say this, like growing up through school, I was a little bit insecure about my dark skin tone.
Yeah.
I have hair, I just grow hair. Unfortunately for my father and his testosterone. But but that was one of the things I used to be insecure about. So growing up, I wanted to see more portrayal of people just like me. And now when I finally got into a position to where I could capture that, I was like, you know what? I want to put more people that look like me, not even just of my skin tone, but all, because we all beautiful in this goddamn room. I want to just say that.
Thank you.
Men and women.
Yeah.
We're some motherfucking beautiful creatures in this goddamn room.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
And God, I'm cheap, but you know, God created us in His image, and I want that to be shown. So with my work, I always try to portray Black people in their image of how God created us.
Oh yes, I like that.
That's always been a thing of mine. So I like to portray people in a way that maybe they don't see themselves, but maybe like how they should be seen. And that's always been a thing of mine. When it don't matter whether it's video or photography, that's always something that's been a portrayal and a goal of mine.
I really want to bounce off what you said. because that's kind of the same thing that I want to try and do with my work. Oftentimes I tend to shoot with Black people just because that's what I know, that's what I grew up on. And I want to highlight them in the most positive way possible, but also keep some of the rawness of it, of the culture. So for a while, it kind of took me a minute to figure out what direction I really wanted to go as far as, you know, painting the story of what it is to be Black, you know, highlighting certain things within our culture. So like, you know, a Black hair series, basing it off of all of the things that we grew up on as Black girls, like, you know, the Murrays, the pink lotion, all of those different things, the hot comb, all of that. No, but seriously, no, but it gives like a feeling of nostalgia because it's like something that we can all relate to, and it almost groups us all together to a point where we almost feel like family, because it's like we all, you know, we all had this piece of history. Even if we didn't live together, we all knew about it. You know, we all know about the hot
We
comb.
have some type of connection.
Exactly.
One way or another.
Exactly.
My grandma didn't talk to me about it, or I had to figure it out myself.
Exactly. So that's kind of what I want to do more with my work, is just connecting all of the history, the stories, the culture of what we are, and allowing other people to feel it, and just, you know, it's something for my people at the end of the day. And I want to just
And one thing I want to piggyback off that as well, like, as regardless on what we've been through, like, some of us are soft spoken, but our art says our art speaks louder than what we can. It's like you said, like, a picture is worth 1,000 words, but definitely I want to let you know I didn't spoke so much into this one. I want you to know that this is what I wanted you to see. I don't care if you don't hear me. It's better to be seen and not heard. I want you to hear me.
Goddamn right. Goddamn right. All right, so before I start fangirling over everybody, I'm going to let y'all two speak because y'all can be kind of quiet. And then I'm going to just start being like, oh my God, so yes, y'all.
What's this on?
So, what is a goal of y'all's that y'all like to capture when it comes to y'all work?
A goal. I guess my goal would be to make people feel something. Like, it's easy to look at a picture and be like, oh, that's cool, like, that's cute, like, I seen, you know, but, like, how often do you look at something and you like, damn, like, you know, I feel that.
I get that. I'm going to find a person who I'm like, damn.
My aim is to pay more respect to my creative work. That's a conversation I've had with Malcolm a few times. He's told me multiple times that's what gets you the clients that are meant for you. Of course, in all my shoots, depending whether like it's corporate or just kind of like local, I try to implement my soul and my spirit, how I perceive things into it. But I really want to set aside the time and really pay respect to like my creative mind, which is something I haven't had the chance to do yet.
Hey, shout out to your beard. I want to my shit. God damn it, I ain't there yet.
These shows connect. I'm over here with the show.
Bro, I cried many days because it didn't. Trust me.
It took a while.
But yes, all right. So Malk, you already know I've been a huge fan. You are the mayor of Jacksonville. And one of the things I even spoke on this a few times, like one of my goals is either being in the front of GQ or working with GQ. And lo and behold, a month later after I tweeted that, somebody that I'm cool with, that I consider a friend, actually worked with them. So how was that process, my brother?
Well, thanks for the humbling remarks first off. It was really, really neat and interesting. And it came in the most random ways. It literally just came straight from an email. Like, I don't think I follow anybody from GQ or anything like that. I did have one suspect like a few years ago when I knew they was watching what I was doing when we did the Candy Show back in 2017, where and we might have talked about it one time, but did the Candy Show, and like within 6 months later they did like a whole like article on dunk riding in GQ. I was like, I mean, yeah, you can say Jacksonville, but that show made up to New York. Like, I know somebody up there saw something and pointed out. So I was like, all right, the voice is being heard. But really, it just came from a random email. And again, the part of the email that stuck out the most to me was that, you know, we coming to you first because we see your vision with this more than anybody else before we pick anybody else. And I took a lot of pride in that. And kind of, me and Wes talk about this all the time. And if I haven't told y'all this, people, as far as on a freelance side or when a company holler at you, they holler at you not because you're a photographer, not because you're a black photographer. They holler at you because you got something that they want. They're coming at you for who you are. So just never change when you're dealing with that person. Like, they coming specifically for you because they see something in your work that says, we need Marquise on it. Like, we need, like, hey, the shoot ain't happening if he ain't doing it. Like, that's kind of what it boiled down to. So to be able to shoot, for Brendan to be able to send me that, and for me to be able to shoot Andrew Gilliam and his wife, who, you know, even with the scandal, somebody I still did look up to an extent. I mean, he still, as far as I'm concerned, still has a chance to be president one day.
I mean, shit, you right along with him in my book.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, well, they. But no, it was definitely an honor. But the process of how it all works is interesting. So, in today's times, seeing your email confirm that you down to do it, and they give you like a date. Usually they hit you up within like a couple of weeks before the shoot is up. They send you a mood board, or you'll make a mood board with them, and you'll do like a couple of Zoom calls, just meeting with the photo editor and then the stylist and whatnot.
Now, when y'all made the mood board, did y'all use like Pinterest?
So they made the mood board on this one, but no, they just like, I guess you use PowerPoint. I don't know, like, it was just a montage of pictures.
I thought they were gonna use Pinterest.
Yeah, no, they was
It's the montage.
get it out the mud.
Look, we going for
Get it out the mud for real. I was like, hey, my kind of people. But yeah, we just did that, and the I guess I can talk about the shoot in particular. What they wanted to do with that was they wanted to be.
Check, right?
Oh yeah.
Money's all about shit.
Yeah. Check clear. No, we've been great with it.
As long as the check clear,
I will say this: GQ pay on time. I'll put that part out. So that's so any photographers out there, if you get a chance, just know they pay on time. So,
Don't worry.
Don't worry. You ain't got to hit them up. They got a easy system. You can watch where your check going. You can see if I've been at McDonald's or not. Y'all will be straight. But the idea with that shoot was they wanted to shoot them as a couple, but not like as a presidential sense. Like, they wanted them to kind of be more relaxed, kind of more of a the idea that they had in the mood board was like younger Obama years, like with Michelle and Barack. Like, when they were younger, just chilling out on the couch and stuff like that. And the shoot that didn't make the final cut, but that made the cut before the final cut was in that, where I recreated the shot. They shot up on the couch. I recreated it.
Just to show them in a more comfortable light, I see.
Yeah, just that, and kind of bring their personalities out a little bit more, because a lot of people still don't really know who they are, and they really don't know his wife until the scandal really came about. Well, not scandal, but, you know, whatever. Yeah. And it just kind of paint them, you know, fun, but also realistic. Like, you know, everybody got to put on that suit and tie in that position, but that's not who you really are. Yeah. You know, and that's kind of what they wanted me to kind of do. So we did that. Originally, we were supposed to shoot at their home, but she straight up said, my house ain't done, so we're going to go somewhere else. Which I was like, yeah, I ain't mad at you, auntie, I understand. So we went to some house down the street, like this gigantic mansion. Well, I mean, like a get-out backyard. Like, it was wild. And but it wasn't many people there, just the makeup artist that was there, and then it was just them and his team. But that also allowed for me and him to have that one-on-one connection, so I can make him as comfortable behind the camera as possible, but to get as natural of a photograph that I can. And to my knowledge, I think I did personally. Like, I don't say that about much, but I definitely think I kind of hit that particular shoot on the head with it.
Yeah. You really did.
But to speak on one of the things, what do y'all feel like y'all do to make I wouldn't say a subject, but the person that you're capturing more comfortable while you're shooting them? Because most of the time we probably are working with people that especially when we branch out more and more, you're going to be working with people that you've never really had a conversation with or not many conversations with in the first place. So how do you make them feel more comfortable as you're capturing them?
I say with me, it's communication and flexibility. When I work with someone, let's start with communication. I always communicate with what I'm trying to bring forth in this particular, the idea that I have. And then flexibility just allows them, well, I'm not comfortable with that, or I don't, this doesn't work well for me. And I try to work around that to at least where we're both really happy or we both are satisfied with what we capture. Also, just down to like the physical thing of like music, put them in an element, where do you feel, what music makes you feel comfortable? What mood makes you feel comfortable? Some people, if you feel like you can open up and be more expressive more with drinking, let's go ahead and do that. If you're a smoker, let's go ahead and do that. Let's get you comfortable. But the really big thing is it's just flexibility and communication. Just let sure, I know some people are just like, well, I have this idea and I just want you to go ahead and go with it. And then the person's like, well, I don't feel comfortable doing this. So just communicate with them and see where you can find like a common ground and be like, well, how can I scratch your back and how can you scratch mine? Let's just go ahead and do this to where we both can capture, still have somewhat of my idea, but you be comfortable enough to do that, portray that, what I'm looking for. So that's what I mean.
To piggyback off that one, like you said, communication, flexibility, I want to say just the energy that you bring into the area. It's like that, and we communicate all day long. It's like, is this something that you want to do? And then the energy that you just come off as, I don't come off as one of those over the top, overbearing type of guys. I'm just like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. Let's try. It's like pretty much the ringmaster of a circus.
Yeah, gotta be open for anything.
Like open for anything, down for whatever. And by the end of it, it's like, hey, we didn't get it. We can say we did it. So why not? Go from there. Like most people laugh by the end of it. Most people laugh during it. Most people laugh before it. But when it's time to get into it, guess what? I need you to be serious right now. I might be behind the camera making you laugh, but best believe I need you in this moment. This is the Kodak moment I need you in.
Anybody else?
For me, it's about meeting them in the middle in conversation, really. Definitely fully agree with everything that they're talking about. You have to be flexible with whatever your subject is comfortable with to capture them in their most truest light. But I think really just communication and conversation and figuring out who they are. That's the best way you can do it. Like, to kind of go back to the Andrew Gillum thing, I broke the ice simply by talking football. The simpler concept that is.
Usually a good concept between men, football and basketball.
And really, he the one that broke it. He told some point, y'all Jags show shook. I was like, bro, I know I'm here to shoot, dog, but let's not go there. Let's not go
do my
there.
job and stay loyal at the same time.
You know what I'm saying, bro? Please don't catch me changing. About you, Jag. But again, that's what broke all the ice down. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, simple things like that. Like, you can look at, the person that you shoot. If it's a portrait shoot, look at the person's shoes. You be like, oh, girl, I got some of them at the house. Oh, child, I bought these at Jason Penner. It's those little things like that that'll open up every single thing. They'll be down to do anything.
The attention to details. My bad.
Oh, we on the same page.
Details will always catch people, and it's just like you sit there and you pay attention to how your grandma talks to her friends.
Yep.
You be like, girl, I went and picked up my medicine last week.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet I can use something like that. We can have a whole conversation with that. Girl, where you get this bracelet from? Girl, look, my man, they got me this. He done got some. Hey,
you're gonna get the whole life story, how that ended up on your wrist.
You go from there, and then they open their entire life story. It was like, pow. Right,
the song right there. Then you got your whole. In a case like that, you got their whole life story that you can play with in those photographs and capture them.
Yeah, definitely. Same. Right off Ava back. Music is usually the bridge for most of the people that I shoot with. Conversation. Something I've learned recently. I'm still learning as I shoot with more people, is to be more in the present. And not pull out my phone as much, because when I'm with you, I want you to have my full attention. I want you to know that you have my full attention. That way, you know what? Because a lot of people don't get that. So when they do, it's like, oh, okay, he's actually paying attention. Like, he actually cares of what I'm trying to capture here. And I want you to know that, because if you're working with me, I want you to know, like, hey, you in good hands.
Right.
That's what, like, you in a safe space. You're in good hands.
Definitely that, but that's also the problem with photographers, though, right? I mean, we live in a digital age where we got these 256 gig, memory cards, so we can shoot 10,000 photos, no problem, right?
These cameras with
Yeah,
100 something megapixels. They can capture even the sweat bead that wasn't even there.
You can shoot all of that, and you'll have these incredible images, but you can't tell me the story about how it came about, can you? And that's the key about it. Just like you're saying, putting your phone down. We as photographers, we forget to live into the moment, especially as Black photographers. When we photographing these certain people and these important figures that we photograph, you want to remember these stories, not just from a photography standpoint, but it's a story you're going to tell your kid one day, because they're going to look that person up, and they might write a history paper on that person one day. So it's always been important for me. And that's why I'm probably the one photographer. I'm a street photographer, but I don't walk around with a camera half the time people see me, because I'm more so being embraced around the moment, just being in the moment of being present, period. When you're there, then when you got your camera in hand, you know what that moment feels like when you shoot. As opposed to, or sometimes I have my camera and I won't even use it that day. I just walk around and just get the sense of feeling of that.
I've been starting to do that too.
I tell people all the time, you probably become a better photographer when you're not photographing than you are when you're photographing, because you just bam, bam, bam. But you remember those stories you built in there. You remember those memories that you capture when you see that. And you're going to see that again one day. And then that day is going to hit. And you're like, man, that was an amazing shoot, man. I remember being here at this time, man, and Jit was going crazy. And then Jit going to remember that if you show him.
God damn, see, this is why this nigga's the mayor. Dropping gems like that. Anybody else would like to speak more so on that subject?
You got it.
Okay. I'm really gonna bounce off of all of y'all. Definitely energy. The energy that you bring to a shoot is very important. You want to go in there with a positive mindset. It doesn't matter who you're working with or what the concept is, even if it's something that you've never done before, out of your comfort zone. Me, I'm not even gonna front with y'all. I pray before every shoot.
Hey, me too.
I pray. Just because, I'm asking God.
I pray, but I'll do it before shoots. I'm glad. See, that's I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Every shoot.
When I'm driving there, I'm having a conversation with God, and I'm like, everything's gonna flow well. The energy's gonna be there. We're gonna connect. We're gonna vibe. And if nothing else, when I get there, if I don't do nothing else, I'm gonna have music, but I'm gonna hype you up. Like, I'm 100% gonna gas you up, killing it. Like, you the flyest out here today. Like, I'm gonna gas you up. I'm gonna boost that confidence for you, so you feel more confident. Right, exactly. Like, you killing it. So I'm definitely very big on energy, and of course, communication. Knowing, what they're trying to get out of the shoot as well. And like Ava said, how can we meet each other halfway? But of course, prayer is the number one thing for me.
You know what's weird, and a lot of people feel like that's just us, our way of kissing up. They're like, no, this is just us naturally. Like, me naturally, I have this energy. You naturally just pray, and the conversations that follow. Like, no, I'm not trying to pander to you. I am legit just being myself. That way, I can be okay. That way, I'm in my zone, and I can go from there and be like, all right, cool. I'm in my zone. Are you about to be in your zone? Yeah, like, no, bet. I can get you in yours.
Yep.
Ryan, I would love for you to speak on this, man, because I'm a fan of your work as well, my brother.
Thank you. Likewise. I was just gonna add in that I try to, and it's definitely been a journey. It's a process. You got good and bad days, but I try to start the ball off as far as early as booking inquiries, to help them feel comfortable just by being professional and personable. I try to give hard copy, if not digital copy of receipts, invoices, whatnot, just to make a person feel more comfortable about their investment. Aside from making mood boards and whatnot, just try to show how passionate, how much I take myself serious on it, so you can take me serious when we meet. And then from there, a little bit of everything what y'all saying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
I feel like for me, I'm most comfortable shooting when I'm like shooting other artists, because artists tend to know like more what they want. So lately I've been trying to like Yeah, heck yeah. Like if somebody comes to you and they're like, I want to create this scene, they're gonna know what they like, some sort of what they want in the scene. They're gonna know how they want to look. So it's easier to be like, okay, this is what you look like, and if you look a mess, like.
But I feel like we be just as awkward, if not more awkward. The people that be behind the camera,
especially when they're not, like you said, when they're always behind the camera, they don't know exactly. Oh wait, you want to?
I'm just saying,
hold on, my face ain't good.
Me personally, when I work with other artists that like have ideas, it just flows better than people who are like, hey, you'll take a picture of my baby, like what do you want? What do you right? So I'd rather just shoot like right. You figured it out. I like it. I like me personally.
No, I get it. Yeah, you want the people to at least have a vision of what they want. Because if I'm sitting here trying to do a vision for you, it's not gonna always pan out to what you want. But you gotta be able to communicate what do you want in the first place. That way you can cut off all
even if it's just
any
a small
mistakes.
detail.
Yeah,
like comes in with the communication.
Maybe you don't want your baby to squint. Maybe you don't want this to happen. Maybe you don't want this. Maybe you don't like your arms like being like this. Like you got to be able to communicate
But
that.
the first thing I tell them is, did you go to my website? Did you see what I did?
It's so much behind that part too. When you said like they want us to create a vision for them. It's like Paul, like I can only create so much where my mind can go. I want to use my screwdriver and screw in yours. I want you to like give me your vision. I want all of that. Like just give me a little something where I can tweak it and we can work with it.
And then this is also where we go into the field of, hey, you might have to hire somebody else as far as like a creative director, assistant, things of that type of nature.
That's where that communication comes from.
How many people have worked with more so of like creative directors, assistants, and stuff? Like I really didn't get into that field until last year, and it was very helpful. I'll be completely honest.
Well, on the freelance side, I had to use them, but it was more so they created it and I was coming in on their behalf, really. No, but it worked out. I mean, I kind of just seen the general idea what they was doing, and I just find where I fit in within that, and then, make it do what it do, best of my ability. But it is pretty easy, though, because they pretty much straightforward tell you, hey, just what we looking for. Straight, plain, and simple. And then as long as you can fit that in, I mean, you won't really have a problem. But on the personal side, when if somebody comes up to you, like we were saying, joking earlier, I tell people, hey, look at who you asking to photograph what you're talking about. Like, don't just grab people because they're photographers.
I tell you that all the time. Be picky about your photographers.
Yeah, be very picky.
Be very picky with your photographers.
Yeah, I mean, he's dope. He can be dope, but does he fit exactly what you're talking about? Me and Ross shoot two different ways. You know what I'm saying? But
and I feel like everybody in this room,
everybody shoots different ways. Everybody shoots totally different.
What we do, but everybody differently. So it's like what you're trying to capture.
Exactly. The type of portrait that you want might not be the type of way that I look at, like the same way that Eb looks at. Like, I'm gonna tell you, I got shot it right here, ready for you. She ready. Everything you talking about, I'm singing you right over there. You can get mad all you want to. I said
look, I may not be the guy for you, but I know.
I don't know if they follow through. I've sent shoots to both of them. Without question, I quit to send a shoot.
I do the same with Marquise. I'm like, hey, I know, I wouldn't be able to capture that, but I know somebody who got you.
But it's just, I love that type of energy where we create that type of space for each other where, hey, you know what? I may not be the person for you, but I know another photographer who is just as amazing. Yeah. If not, I praise them even more than myself. They'll get the job done. They are what you are looking for.
I think that's a part about being a black photographer to a degree, though, is being able to be selfless, understanding that, again, everybody in this room shoots so differently. We can go shoot the same. We can shoot this tree right here. We're going to have, 6 of us in here? We're going to have 6 different images that look completely different. 6 different views. Shooting that same tree. But being selfless and knowing that, hey, man, no, you can go do that there. Like I was saying, off the mic. For me to make money, I need you to make money. I need you to make money. I need you to make money. That's the only way that it really operates. If none of us are getting no checks, we all in here, bro. But if you got here on the shoot, then eventually it's going to come right back around, and it's going to come back to me, and it's going to come back.
More like
Exactly, and passing it around.
We all can eat. I tell you that all the time.
Oh, it's more than enough money.
They just don't have that competition mindset because we all can eat.
Man, it's more than enough, man. There's so many, and then there's so many fields and genres of photography that blacks not even touching it. I mean, it's not too many blacks that do sports photography.
Yes.
That's a whole other ball of wax. I mean, it's product. I mean, people get paid $1 million just to shoot food, like specific food. Like, is the most wild thing that you can think of as a concept. There's a photographer for it.
Yeah. On that same train of thought, if you don't mind me asking the question, I'm not in a room too many. I'm in rooms with a lot of creators, but not like photographers, especially black photographers. So I'm grateful to be in this room. On that same train of thought, like how often do y'all feel compensated and like reciprocated in like y'all's amount of passion?
All right. So when I first started, like really getting into photography, I'm the type of person where I will not take no money if I don't feel like I'm at the point where I'm comfortable enough to take money from you. So if people used to come up to me early on and say, "Hey, you can take pictures," I was like, "Look, I'll do it for free," because it just helps me build up my portfolio and what I need to do.
Right.
So for like the first year, I was just doing a bunch of shoots with my younger brother, and that was all honestly to help him keep him out of situations and stuff. So I used to tag him on everything I do. Hey, we finna go out and shoot, and he would shoot me, and I would shoot him, and that's how it started. And then, once I got more comfortable, I was like, all right, $50 here. Just little stuff. But I was more so looking like, look, my value is more than money.
Absolutely.
So that's always how I kept the mindset. Now, yes, I get compensated. Good enough right now.
Mm-hmm.
I still look at it as I bring more value than what the money may say at the moment, but I understand the end goal at the end of the day. And I just... LRK, we literally just got I guess you can say a contract or whatever from a company, 4 digits. That's my biggest job to date right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for that. But like I said, honestly, with the work put in, I could have charged a little bit more. But at the time being, it's like, all right, I understand the end goal. I understand that this amount of work, what I'm about to do for this project, is going to open doors for other companies to look at us like, oh, okay, they captured this, just like we caught their eye. So I always look at it with the mindset of that, like, all right, what I bring to you, I'm always going to do more than what the value of the money says.
Right. So I want to piggyback off what you said. Like, is it wrong for me to just be in the moment and be like, I don't want to charge you because I just like doing it. I do like building up my portfolio, but I also like just doing it just because it brings me happiness.
There's nothing wrong with doing it in the moment, but you still want to. Hey, I got bills to pay.
I got bills to pay, but again, it's not necessarily a confidence thing. It's just more so what other currency are you looking for out of that? Mm-hmm. So in that particular aspect, you're not looking for money, but it's a different type of currency that you're looking for. You're looking for the currency of experience.
Yeah.
Looking for the currency of being able to be in that situation and know how to operate that. So now you've been paid.
I mean, now, granted, yes, I done did things where I have been paid, but in the same sense, it's just, like you said, it's more just for the experience. Like, I did a wedding back in December. I ain't never did a wedding before. Mm-hmm. And it was like, help.
Oh,
and I thought, anyway.
Oh, no, wait a minute. I took some money for that one.
But in the same sense, it was like my first time. But regardless, now I got my little experience from it. And
weddings take a whole lot.
Right.
Weddings take a lot.
Now I didn't do weddings. I didn't do just birthday shoots. I didn't did a bunch of them, but it's just like I don't really care much about the money. And I do appreciate the fact that you thought about me to pay me. But in the same sense, I just like to do it. I just
kind of like what she said earlier. Like, even if it's a $1 million, look, I'll do it for free. Like,
I'm kind of the same way with that. As far as getting compensation, I feel like I kind of got in my own way with that because, as she was saying earlier, she made $1 million. She would do photography for free, and that's basically if everything in life, if I was taken care of, I would go out and I would shoot for free because I just love the art of photography so much. And I feel like I don't, at times I didn't want compensation. So I do have my things where I would do shoots for free, or if it's something that I've never done before, I will always communicate that I've never done this before, but I'll do this for you for free just to get that experience. Mm-hmm. Also, I'm also big on barters. So sometimes if they're like, well, if we if they feel that they can't compensate me, you know, in a monetary value, I'm like, okay, well, let's see how can we help each other with
because
this.
it's understanding. Like,
right.
we in a PlayStation pandemic.
I felt that I've done, I felt that I've done like, you know, big shoots or certain shoots where I felt like somebody was like, well, you didn't get paid for that, and I was like, no, but I got something out of it. I didn't walk away from this empty-handed. The experience alone is, you know, something that I really go into. So sometimes I would even like sell myself short. Like I have my prices on my website, and I've still found myself sometimes being like, well, I'll go for half of that. You know what I'm saying? I just want the experience to be able to do it. When somebody presents me something where either I haven't done before or something I'm really excited to do, I have sold myself short. But again, it's just for the love and the experience that I get from
the value from that is, like I said, it's not always money. It's not always money that I'm looking for out of this. Like I said, sometimes the currency is experience. Sometimes the currency is just me building up a portfolio. Right. Sometimes the currency is me building this relationship with you because you may have connection with somebody else.
Right.
It's currency. Like, people gotta understand that value and monetary gain is looked at in different ways depending on what you are going for.
Mm-hmm. When I did the shoot with DJ Maceo, like I didn't get paid for that or compensation for that, but it was the experience of, you know, just being on the team and helping him with that. There was a restaurant that they were opening here, and it was just so exciting that it did not bother me that there wasn't a price tag on that shoot, you know. So that's just something that's with me. I feel like with as far as getting the compensation, it's probably just me holding myself back because I'm too busy wanting the experience more than I want the money.
And I've had that feeling, like I said, for a minute. Like I said, like I felt like maybe I'm not doing too much. Maybe I'm not doing enough for them to pay me. But then in the same sense, it's like I'm still happy by the end of the day. I actually got to do something like this. This might be different, and like I said, maybe it's just the experience. I got to do something different, and I can roll with it. Like I'm not mad. I'm like, regardless, like yes, I have a good income. Yes, I do other things in the same sense. Just doing this is just more of a passion. And I mean, hey, if there's a price tag behind it, then we can go one or two ways. But it's just more the fact that I have the passion.
Yeah, that's definitely what matters. Your happiness and what you're doing at the end of the day, and your mental state. That can lead into a whole other hour or so on topics. When it comes to photographers in our mental state.
Yeah, that's a whole other podcast.
I know, right? But look, I can't even put into words like what I'm getting right now in this room with y'all. Like, for real, it's an honor sitting amongst each and every one of y'all.
You know, yes, definitely likewise.
Love y'all work. You know, I hope everybody, you know, sees success in the near future. Keep pushing towards what you want to do. Evolve and grow. You know, right now with the space of you're safe here, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. And everybody, if you can, give your ad names for your social medias to where people can follow you and all that stuff.
Well, Ebony Shawty Eb is my Instagram tag. Also on Twitter, Shawty Eb. My website, we're working on a rebrand, so you know the name for that is coming soon. But
as for my Instagram, it's Photos by Clouds, but Clouds has a Z in it. For my Twitter, it's really more of a personal. I do show my photography on there, but it's Ava. Now the first A is the @ symbol, and then Ava the Cool Kid. So that's my Twitter. And Instagram and everything else is Photos by Clouds, and my website as well is Photos by Clouds.
Mount Jackson, Instagram, and everywhere else, MALCJAX.
Michael Rakim is my Facebook. That's where I post more photos rather than Twitter. Rakimism is my Instagram, and our website is rakimism.com.
Kenya Champion Photography is my Instagram photography page, but I can be found on Instagram and Twitter as Afrocentricity with 3 Y's.
All right, and where y'all will be able to find us at is at Triangles Production on YouTube, and also you can follow us on Triangles Productions at IG, and also official LRK 904 on IG, and we will be creating a Twitter very soon. So, cool. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
That's not it.